Draw. Hello again, ladies and gents. Welcome to another episode of Draw with Jordan. I'm Jordan. You're awesome. And yes, today we're going to be discussing doodling. Now, if you're anything like me and have some form of ADD, which is probably very likely, which is why you're here and still watching. Anyway, yes, doodling. Is it really beneficial to you? Do you remember when you were a kid and you were in church or school or something, and your mom or your teacher or whatever would be like, hey, stop drawing, pay attention. Well, all that fun stuff. Well, I have an argument for you to make you smarter. Maybe. I don't know. We'll find out. Let's see what happens. So let's do this. I want to give you some examples and reasons about how doodling benefits you and how we can make it benefit your art. So this is going to be a two-part video, maybe three, depending on how long you want to stick around. The first part is going to be me kind of explaining how all this works and why doodling does what it does. The second part is going to be me showing you what doodling you can be doing to help your brain do what it could be doing in that area. And if we have time to stick around, of course, then the third part I'm just going to practice and see what I can do just based off some silly doodling, and we'll see what happens. So what is doodling? Well, doodling is anything that you put on a page besides letters. Now, it's not as advanced as a sketch or illustration or anything. It's just something that your hand is doing with a pencil on the paper just to kind of keep your mind going. What it is, it's the physical manifestation of active thinking. It's just enough energy to keep your mind focused, but not enough to let it wander. What it is you're developing concepts in these little doodles, changing your brain from unfocused to focused, just by doing this. Bill Gates, for example, was a prolific doodler, doodled all the time, and he invented the internet or something. So, there's an example for you. A good example, Jackie Andrade of Plymouth University. She had 40 students sit in the same lecture, and she told 20 of them to doodle while they were paying attention, and 20 of them just to make notes or whatever. What she found was that of the 40 students, the 20 that were doodling during the lecture remembered 29% more of the lecture than the 20 students who didn't doodle. Interesting. So doodling stimulates a more dormant part of the brain, so you analyze info differently. In fact, a lot of businesses actually ask their managers to translate their ideas into doodles to kind of help convey the information. That's why you see a lot of graphics. People are a lot more visual, and they tend to pick out things more visually. It's just how the brain works. Who knew? In fact, doodling is a natural stress reliever. So if you're feeling impatient or bored or indecisive, try doodling. Since it's a motor skill, it'll help relieve some of that and make your brain focus more to get things done. And you might have a nice little piece of art at the end of it, too. A twofer. All right, well, let's get to the how-to part of the video where I show you the 12 basic shapes to doodling so you can kind of get things rolling and see if we can teach you something. We'll go from there and have fun with it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a different angle of my hands. Okay, so a lot of you are probably already doodling as it is. I mean, who hasn't seen things like the cutesy little heart with the initials? Aww. Or things like the cube. And who could forget the 90s? Yes, these are all different forms of doodles. And on top of that, I'm going to just show you the 12 basic shapes of doodling to add to your doodling arsenal. Kind of get your little mind-brain doodle gears lubed up. Here they are in no particular order.
The dot, the line, kissing lines, chiropractor line, dizzy line, breast cancer awareness, the donut, someone sat on my donut, tri-sides, Holland cube, pentangular, and Rick. Alrighty, now that we have our 12 basic shapes, we can start putting marks on the page. I'm going to use a pen to kind of keep me from thinking about erasing or correcting anything. This is just something to keep the creative juices going. Just remember, don't psych yourself out by thinking about what to doodle. Just, start doodling. Make something up. Of course, feel free to use different tools and supplies. Trace your hand, if you'd like. This really helps to warm up for more detailed illustrations later on. Challenge yourself. Try putting a mark on the page and then making the mirror image of it. Draw upwards and then downwards, left to right, right to left, all that fun stuff. See if you can make all 12 shapes in different ways and then add more of your own shapes. Or just, pick your favorites and try to mutate them into some other weird shape. Now try thinking outside the box. Let's see if we can turn some of those scribbles into a more detailed illustration, shall we? How about this? We start with a weird scribble. It doesn't look like much now, but I did take some time to look at it from a different angle and then decided to make it vertical. I started sketching and adding more and more detail. Still not entirely sure where I was going with it. I just kept adding more lines and shapes. It started to take form and I felt like this thing needed a trench coat. Maybe this weird swirl could be a hat. I don't know. Perhaps he's a futuristic detective or a cowboy. But it gave me a bunch of ideas and I started scribbling a few notes to the side for some of the things that I wanted to use later on in a more detailed piece. So I did use a pencil to sketch it out, and then I used my pens to bring out the lines that I liked. I added more line work and shadows to bring out the shapes until I was happy with where it was going. Kind of has a Frank Miller or Eduardo Riso sort of vibe to it. Side note, if you don't know who they are, you should really check out their work. It's excellent storytelling art. And here we have our doodle to illustration in less than, 10 minutes.
I think it worked out nicely. Not my best work, of course, but the fact that I was able to come up with something just based off a little doodle, I think it's pretty cool. At least get those little thinking outside of the box gears going for sure. So that's fun. Notice how I turned the page too, and decided to go at it from a different angle. There's no rules. Go with it. Have fun with it. That's exciting. Enjoy your illustration being weird and off the wall, whatever it might end up being. Have fun with it. Alright, so there you go. Okay, so yeah, technically doodling doesn't make you inherently smarter, but it does help you retain a lot of that information much better because it just gets all those general ideas more visualized and more deliberate, which always helps too. Kind of makes things stick when they're just overall general ideas as opposed to just all these statistics and details. Math. But anyway, thanks again for stopping in. I really appreciate it. I would love if you subscribe to me as well so I know that you enjoy this as well. I can keep doing more of this for you. And if you want to share this with somebody else who you feel like would benefit from a little doodle action, would be fantastic. And I would love to see your doodles. In fact, it's always fun to see inside the brain of another artist. And scary sometimes. But more fun than anything. And as always, of course, stay creative. I will see you all next time. Goodbye. Draw! Lips are really chapped. Tastes like blueberries.